What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be continuing to show you how to make the FNAF security breach atrium. This is part 2, and in this one, we're going to be doing the little logo here, the security breach, the Pizzaplex logo, whatever. And we're going to be getting this kind of like middle level entirely marked. We're getting all the red in and stuff, and just like that whole, all the walls and stuff. Again, just marked. Not really a ton filled up besides what we already did last part. So yeah, with that being said, and that is all I should say. So with that being said, there we go. Enjoy the tutorial, and I will catch you on the flip side. Alright, so before we do anything floor or more laying out related, it's time to do more of our favorite stuff, and that's pixel art. Now, before we do the actual pixel art, though, you need an oak trap door, and this will make more sense later. Not really, it'll never make sense. Between the two elevators, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and pick one of the center blocks here at eye level, which is the second row up of red, and you're going to place an oak trap door open up against it. This will be the little flashlight charger things. And yeah, that's literally it. It's such a crazy and complicated design, I know. For those of you who have watched the security breach streams, you've probably seen me at least once run around trying to figure out what I did for it, and then discovering that it was an oak trap door and being devastated. Anyway, for the next step, you need the following. Cherry slabs, bamboo slabs, prismarine brick slabs, pink concrete, orange concrete, white concrete, light blue concrete, yellow concrete, and lime concrete. Just might as well get all the concretes. So between the elevators, I'm gonna start from like between the top. Okay, what did I just? Wait, never mind. I know what I broke. There we go. Between the like top two black concretes, you want to be actually on either top corner, and you're gonna place an upside down bamboo slab on either side. You actually want to, on the right one, place it in another block. This is not symmetrical, I know, unfortunate. In from those, you'll place a regular bamboo slab, which will kind of be down diagonally, and then connect those together with prismarine brick slabs. Underneath this bottom row of slabs, you'll place 5 upside down cherry slabs. Extend it out on either side with an upside down bamboo slab. You'll then extend up diagonally out by 2 with bamboo slabs, which will give you this. And kind of the, the half diagonal, and then you'll go up with a slab and then in one. You'll then go up diagonally in from that with a prismarine brick slab and connect them together. It should give you this. The outer prismarine brick slab on either side, directly above it, you'll place a cherry slab and extend it out by 1, and that should give you this kind of shape. That's where the symmetry goes out the window, unfortunately, so we can, ignore it. Just starting from the leftmost prismarine brick slab, you'll extend up with 2 pink concrete and then a white concrete. Next row over, I'll go orange and then white. That's all I can do for now. From there, I'll go right with a light blue, up with an orange, right one, and then right with 2 lime concrete. The left more lime, I'll extend down by 1 and then down with a yellow concrete. That is a pretty good point to clear our inventory and get out the following. Birch planks, waxed weathered cut copper slabs, my favorite, purple concrete, green concrete, smooth quartz slabs, cherry slab again, red concrete, light gray concrete, and black concrete. So the center here, basically to the left of the yellow concrete, you have this like 3-block gap you're going to fill in with birch planks. To the right of the bottom lime concrete, you'll place a waxed weathered cut copper slab and then a purple concrete. Opposite side to the left of this top pink, I'll place a smooth quartz slab and then a green concrete. I'll extend this top white concrete up with a cherry slab. I'll then extend right with a light gray concrete. From that light gray, I'll do 2 things. I'll go down with a red concrete, and I'll also go right with a black concrete. You'll then end up leaving a gap of 1, and just over top either lime concrete, you'll place red nether brick walls. I'll clear my inventory entirely as I get these out and then get rid of them. You also want to do the same with an acacia sign. Just grab it out and place it on this top left white concrete. Don't really feel like it's important enough to get it out with the next set, which is literally 2 materials. It's bamboo planks and prismarine brick slabs. You'll extend the green and purple concrete on either side, each up with 2 bamboo planks. Then go up diagonally in by 1. In with a prismarine brick slab. And then you'll pretty much connect those together with 3 opposite on prismarine brick slab, which will just be up diagonally in from the slab on either side and then connected together. Each of these slabs you'll extend up by 1. You're going to leave a half a block gap as you do this, though, so basically you see this is a regular slab because it's on the bottom half. I'll count up again and I'll place one on the bottom half of this block on either side. And that'll give you that. I love this logo in general, like in the game. I don't like the way that it turned out necessarily in this, although, I mean, it looks fine, I think. It's not like it's horrendous, but it doesn't particularly look great either. So, here's where the fun stuff begins. Before we can do the floor, we essentially need to lay out the rest of the left and the right side along with the stuff in here. So this is going to be a lot of effort for all this. But you want to start by getting out light blue concrete, cyan terracotta, gray concrete, green concrete, glass panes, red concrete, magenta concrete, and gray concrete. So, we want to head to the left side here where you have the sun poster and stuff, and you want to head to this furthest left cyan terracotta pillar here. From it, you want to take the, what are we taking here? Hold on, let me just, like, make sure that I know where I'm coming from. Okay. You want to take the, like, left row of it, this front left row, and below it, I'm going to place a cyan terracotta below this block. I will then extend it toward me with 68 light blue concrete. Nice. I'll place glass panes on those just for now, and then I'll give you another second. We will make sure this is correct before we start to do the inner layer, because that will be important. We'll know it's correct because something will line up on both sides. You'll see what it is later. You want to take the glass pane row specifically and extend forward with 2 cyan terracotta. Extend the cyan right a row. And then from this right row of cyan, you'll place a gray concrete in front. I'll extend it up by 7. And then from that top gray, I will extend forward by 13. And then down by 7 again. From the top front corner of that, I'll extend forward again with 13 gray. And then down by 7. Got the old double door going. From the end gray, I'll place 2 cyan terracotta extending left, or forward, excuse me, and then I will extend them left a row, which is what I was trying to say. Where is my sign? Oh, there it is. The back, or front left cyan, you'll extend down by 1, and then from there, you'll go forward with 47 green concrete. I'll again place glass panes on each one while I also, at the same time, check the number to make sure that I'm correct. I'm basically, what I'm doing by running along is I'm seeing, okay, when I walk on this, the x coordinate is changing. And if I take the two numbers, negative 776 and 730, I'll just take the positive version. So 776 minus 730 would be 46, but you need to add 1, which would give you 47, and that's the number that it is. Basically, the plus 1 is because when you count it this way, you're counting excluding the one that you're on whenever you would subtract or something. So because that number is also included in the total, that you need to add that plus 1 in. That's just how I calculate it. It's definitely weird at first, especially with the plus 1. Sometimes I still mess it up, but eventually you definitely get more used to it and tend to mess it up less. But again, it will still happen. Extend the glass panes at the front forward with 2 cyan terracotta, which would be brought right a row. In line with the cyan here on the right side, I'll extend forward with 2 red. I'll go forward diagonally right, forward, forward diagonally right 2, right, forward diagonally right, and then back diagonally right with a cyan terracotta. I'll extend right by 1, extend the cyan towards the back by 1, which would be that side. And then from the red concrete here, this singular red, you're going to extend right by 1, so it's behind the cyan. Forward diagonally right, right, back diagonally right with a gray, up by 6. Yes, those doors are taller, by the way. I figured that it'd be a good point to mention that because those were 7 up and the rest of them have been 6 up so far, the other 2 I mean. You'll then extend from this top block right by 3, forward diagonally right, right 4, forward diagonally right, right 3, and then down by 6. This doesn't actually lead anywhere. The other one technically does. I would presume this would lead to bakery, but you don't actually ever see it. So you might see it in Ruin. I don't remember. I would have to check and see where you go in Ruin if you go anywhere weird, but I don't think you do. From this end gray, you'll go forward diagonally right with a red, right 1, then back diagonally right with a red. Then from there, I'll go back with 2 cyan terracotta, each extended to the left by 1? Yes. And then I will yet again take this red and I'll extend it right by 1. I'll then go forward diagonally right by 2. Forward. Forward diagonally right. Forward 2. Forward diagonally right. Forward 3, forward diagonally right, forward 6, forward diagonally right with a magenta concrete, right by 6, forward diagonally right with a gray, right with a magenta, which I will extend down by 1, and then from there I will go back from that bottom magenta with 27 red concrete. And if you line this up, you'll see, what are we in line with? 727 would be right before that cyan terracotta there for the Monte Golf side. And you can kind of look at this number, and this is pretty much the size of the atrium. This goes a little further out, but that's basically the gist of it. It's like maybe 5 or 6 more blocks, but it's nothing crazy. So, yeah, before we end up filling all of that, we can check the other side to make sure that everything is lining up accordingly. And the way that we're going to do that is start by getting out andesite. And head all the way over to the end of the wall on the right here. Wow, that is so far. Oh my god. Yeah, but you want to take this cyan terracotta pillar on the end here. I'll take the front right row of cyan terracotta and extend down with an andesite. This andesite can be brought backwards by 30. I should have said forward, not backwards. I apologize, but you should have hopefully gotten it regardless. We'll then extend to the left by 4. Then I'm going to get rid of like light blue concrete and green concrete, and I'll get out red terracotta and orange concrete. And to the left of this row of what should be 5 andesite in total, you place a red terracotta. You'll then extend forward by 4. Then forward with 6 orange concrete. Then a cyan terracotta, which you'll extend out by 1. That top cyan will be brought left, and then either cyan will be brought forward by 1. So, as I mentioned with the green over there as to how I am measuring, you want to do a similar thing here. So if you walk like forward and backward here, you'll see the coordinate that changes is the first one, and it's 806 and 807. Well, negative 806 and negative 807. If I trace across and I check the one over here at the front, this should hopefully be the same. So you see this right here, negative 806, negative 807. If that is the same, and you can also just like place a line of blocks across to check, then you are good. Everything should line up at least at this particular portion. So yeah. And then the front of them, you can also check and make sure that they line up. And we'll do probably one more check later when we do those lines to make sure that they line up accordingly. But you want to take the end cyan terracotta here. And I'm going to take the front left one and I'll extend forward with a gray concrete. Same thing as before, you're extending the gray up by 7. Then extending forward by 13. Down 7. Did I do that right? I did. Then this top gray again, forward by 13 more. Down by 7 again. I'll then take this end one and I'll place 2 cyan terracotta going in front, which will be brought right by 1 each. And again, I'll check 777 and 778. That's kind of funny. And yeah, this one you don't necessarily need to check. I'm just doing it just for the point. And yeah, cool. Because after this point, it changes drastically. Giraphically. That's perfect. You want to take the front left cyan and extend left with a red. You'll then you'll place 3 placeholders going left from that, which I'm going to use magenta concrete. And then behind the final placeholder, you'll place a red concrete, like so. Extend left by 8. And then left of that, you're going to place 4 more placeholders. I'll then extend the placeholder this end one back by 1, and then place another red concrete from there. And then I'll extend it left by 2, and then I'll place a smooth quartz block on the end. I'll just get rid of the andesite for it. And then from that, I'll go kind of down diagonally left with a red concrete. I don't have the number on hand for this side, which is probably actually dumb. So what we're going to do instead is we're actually going to get rid of the gray concrete and get out stone. And going forward from the smooth quartz, you're going to do the following. You're going to place 8 stone, smooth quartz, 8 stone, smooth quartz, 8 stone, smooth quartz, 8 stone, smooth quartz. So then you would have 4 rows of those stone. You then place 1 stone, go forward diagonally left, forward 3, forward diagonally left, forward diagonally left, then forward diagonally left with a smooth quartz, left with a stone, forward diagonally left with a stone, left by 6, then place a smooth quartz, forward diagonally left with a stone, left 2, forward diagonally left by 3, forward 2, forward diagonally left with a smooth quartz, then forward with 9 stone, Smooth quartz. Then 5 stone. Go forward diagonally right. Forward 4. Forward diagonally right. Forward 4. You'll then place a smooth quartz block. Go forward diagonally left with a red terracotta. Left by 2. Down with a red terracotta, and then from there you'll go back with 27 red concrete. And you'll end in line with this smooth quartz block here. I'm going to do the same check here. 727 is the end of this one, and I'll confirm if these should be aligned. I don't know if they should be or not. They are in line, yeah, so both are at negative 727 for me. I'm going to confirm on the original as well that that is the case, because I know if I don't, that it's going to end up being wrong. So we can check real quick, and yes, that is correct. So that will end up giving you the full atrium shape, pretty much. We can end up doing the rest of this line as I mentioned. However, there are some weird inconsistencies here. Because we don't have the number going back, we're going to build from these red lines as far back as we can and then just deal with it from there. So, on the left side is where I'm at right now. You can see over there, you got the green concrete and stuff. What we're going to do from this line of 27 is we're going to go back diagonally left with a red. Back 2. Back diagonally left by 4. Then left by 2. Back diagonally left. Then left by 7. Back diagonally left. Left. Back diagonally left. Back. Back diagonally left, and then I'll just go back a few blocks so I know that is the straight point. And I am going to check and see to make sure that where this line is positioned. You can see this row of 2 is in line with that gray concrete there. Just, again, I know that it's a lot to just confirm these things, but I would rather confirm them and be like, oh, look, that is a block off, so go fix what you just did now rather than getting 30 minutes in and realizing something is wrong. On the other side, you can pretty much just follow these stone shape a block down and out at all times. And eventually you'll run into the red concrete that we already placed earlier because, yeah. This one, the only thing that actually changes is when you hit this back point, instead of going 2 and then to the end, it has a row of 4 in addition. But yeah, you just, you don't have to necessarily worry about that, you're just following the shape anyway. Awesome. On the right side, we're not going to actually do anything yet, I guess. We'll save that for later. We can head back to the elevators, though, because it's a good point to mark this side, because this side is the complicated side, I would say. So, if we take... What are we going to get rid of? We're going to get rid of the stone and... We're going to get rid of the stone, the smooth quartz blocks, and the magenta concrete. And we're going to get out black concrete, block of quartz, not smooth, block, and magenta wool. So from the elevators here, I think we can do this from both, but let me confirm that it is lined up. Yes, it is. You want to take the outer black concrete, pillar on either side of the elevator, and you're going to... I'm going to actually just bring the black concrete down by 1 to start. I'll then go forward on both sides with 7 magenta wool. Nice. I'll then place 3 red concrete as kind of a... It is there, but it's more so as a just temporary marker than anything else. And then I will end up placing 10 magenta wool in front of that. Let me just make sure that that number is actually 10. Yep. I'd rather double check it than not. I'll then place a red concrete in front of that, and I'll extend it out by 1 on both sides. In addition, I'll end up connecting it together with more red concrete, just in a straight line. As for these pillars, these rows of 3 red within the magenta, you can extend them up until they're the same height as the walls around you, which my brain is saying 9, but that's very wrong. It is actually 15 up. And yeah, you see you're the same height as those walls. Just these rows of 3, nothing else. Whoa, that looks crazy, actually. Just having the outlines wild. I like seeing it, though. It's kind of cool. What is down there? Oh, I know what that's from. Never mind. It's lobby stuff. From the center row of red concrete, you're going to go out with a row of alternating black concrete and block of quartz going top to bottom. If you start in the floor like I am here, I'm starting with a black concrete, but it doesn't actually matter. The top block is a block of quartz. If that helps you at all. And then outside of that, I'll place these same, like, 3 rows of red concrete. So I'll place 1 directly outside of the checkerboard pattern, then I'll extend it forward and backward by 1. Just nice to get these out of the way, since they're not really hard and they're just kind of here. They exist. And they'll be nice to have as markers later as well. These are like our beautiful little markers, because they just helped us mark where this line was going, and they are going to help us mark some other details. Anyway, from this point, you can take the red concrete front row here, and you're going to extend the sides forward on the sides, as I mentioned, with 4 red concrete. You'll then extend forward diagonally in, forward diagonally in 1, forward diagonally in. From there, you'll go in by 2, forward diagonally in, and from here you would connect together. Now, the total row here ends up being 18 if you want to confirm, so you're placing 16 red in total. 16 would be the middle, and then again, the 18 would be the plus on either side. Nice. Underneath that, I'm going to do the alternating black concrete and block of quartz going really all the way around. I guess you don't need it on the back, so I'm not going to add it on the back, because it doesn't matter. But I'm going to get the full sides in and everything. And it doesn't matter which you start and end with, because whatever. It looks like teeth. I'll place another row of red concrete under that to make sure it doesn't look like teeth. And then this is where I'll confirm to make sure that we don't actually need this row of red on the back. I feel like it might help. Let me see. No, it doesn't matter. Actually, I wouldn't add it, because if you add it on the back, you'll end up getting in the way of the blue terracotta. You're gonna place glass. Well, actually, before we do that, I'll fill in the top of this in with block of quartz in line with the top row of red, and that'll give us a nice floor. There's nothing here, just a little lookout to the atrium. As much as I don't like building security breach in general sometimes, I do have to admit the atrium is probably one of the cooler things I've built. So big. You should have this. Now we can go around the edges and place glass panes on all the red concretes. There's 2 things you should keep in mind. This flat back row, you're not placing it on, and also when you place it, you might want to place on the block of quartz kind of inner corners here, just so all the panes connect properly. And that'll give you this. Awesome. We can now start the torment that is the sides. So I would recommend getting rid of your orange concrete and I guess gray concrete, and getting out light gray concrete and polished tough. Going out from the back corners of red concrete on both sides, you're doing the same thing. Just want to make sure that it is exactly the same. Yes. You're going to place a light gray concrete, polished tough, light gray, polished tough, 2 light gray, polished tough, light gray, polished tough, light gray. And again, just to reiterate, on the other side, it'll be light gray, tough, 2 light gray, tough, light gray. It should look like this. I'll then go out from those with 7 red concrete. And then that end one I will extend forward by 2. And again, I'm going to make sure that this is the same on both sides, because I know there's some inconsistencies with that in general in this build, and I just, want to make sure that I catch those. This row of 3 you just placed, I'm going to bring each red down by 2. Which is the inner corner and then the 2 in front, obviously. That's how counting works. Yeah, I think we'll get to a point where we can fill in this section. That'll be nice. The red concrete you just placed on both sides, you're going to take actually all 3 blocks on the top specifically. And you want to extend out by 9. There will be elevators on the front of these, but we're not really worried about that until way later. That's like a not quite final step thing, but like late step thing. On the right side, I'll bring the reds down by 2 again. This is just more so that's for a marker, and I'll actually do the same to the front of this row, or like the front of these sections. Again, you don't need it there necessarily, but it's more so for our sake of one of the upcoming steps to make sure that we don't get this section or these parts confused with that. I'll then take the back left red, and this should be where it changes, I think. On the right side, you're going out with 30 red concrete. And on the left, it should be 29, if I recall correctly. Yes, 29 out on this side. And then again, 30 on the other, and it'll basically give you a giant flat line here. Nice. This next step will also help us to ensure that everything goes correctly. So on both sides, this part is symmetrical. Let me also actually confirm, though, because I never know. But you want to do the following. You're going to go... Yeah, they are. You'll go forward diagonally, out. Out 1. Forward diagonally, out 2. Forward, and then forward diagonally, out again. So it's... Again... Forward diagonally out, forward diagonally out 2, forward, and then forward diagonally out. From the end red on both sides, you should be able to extend these all the way forward. And if everything has been done correctly, you will connect to more red on both sides. And you see here, if I go forward, bam, I'll connect perfectly into that row. If you don't, just check your numbers, make sure the 29 and the 30 are correct. That's really the only thing that probably would have messed up at this point. So, yeah. Just like so. Awesome. Now, before we fill in this entire section, I want to talk about the gray concrete doorways really quickly here, because they're a bit odd. There's a couple things, actually, that are odd here, and they are one of them, but they're not the only one. So, consistency is not in my name or in this build's name. The doorways, some of these doorways have gray on the underside. When I say some of them, I mean, is it just the one side? Why would it just be the one? It's just the one side, isn't it? It's just the one side, okay. The one door on the right, you have 3 on the left here, like 3 sets. The set on the right here, you'll end up, I'll just get rid of the red terracotta and I'll block pick the gray concrete. And I'll extend each gray concrete down by 1, and I'll basically create rectangles here. I'll connect them together at the bottom, which will give you this. You can choose to do this on all of them. I think it really depends on the doorway, but since it's done on this one on the right, you would think it's done on that one on the left, but no, I guess not. But yeah, I don't really particularly know about all that. A couple things will have to be destroyed when we do the floor, because I know there's like some platforms here where these are, and there's also a couple other escalators on the sides that we're not worrying about. But what I'm going to do is, in line with the red concrete here, this like outer row we just made, I'm going to fill in the entire floor with magenta wool. This will take a minute. I am telling you that now. On the sides, whenever you have like an opening, I'm going to go pretty much in line with where the opening would be. In some instances, it's looking up at gray concrete and saying, yeah, that's where that is. And in other cases, it's just kind of blocking it off how you think. But yeah, there are a couple exceptions. We're not going to worry about them, actually. We're going to just fill everything in first. And yeah, if you are familiar with slash fill, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Slash fill is an absolute tool here. It is insanely useful. So, you know, use it to your advantage if you're familiar with it. But if not, just kind of vibe for a bit as you fill in this area with the floors. Yeah, so this will be level 1 of 3. Well, technically it's 2 of 3, but it's 1 of 3 that we've made. The top layer is almost an exact replica. The bottom layer is where things are going to get really annoying because of repetitive floor patterns. But I have a way to structure block that will make it easier if you are interested. Or slash filling is also an option. Not as ideal because you would still have to do all of one block and then pretty much leave diagonals for the other. It only would work properly if you're against like a block on the bottom, but you aren't going to be likely because you have 2 different sets anyway of layers. You have like the main part, which is higher, and then the central part is a bit lower. But yeah, there's a lot of annoying things like that. And as you're filling, by the way, if you're slash filling, you don't necessarily need to worry about overfilling. Just as you fill, I would do keep commands to make sure you don't destroy anything we've already done. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about overfilling, especially on the back here. Because if you do whatever, we'll have to destroy it later, you know? Like, it's not a entirely problem. And yeah, you shouldn't, I mean, if you're going like all the way out to the lobby, that's one thing. But those floor levels are in line anyway, so really you wouldn't have an issue of it filling into something. You're more so, I guess, worried about the interior side of the atrium rather than the exterior side, but you know, even then it's not a huge ordeal. And so, yeah, we'll just fill to our heart's content, pretty much. I didn't do any patterns for this because it wasn't something I was worrying about as I was doing it. And I just kind of decided that by the time I was at a point where I would have been doing patterns, that they weren't good enough, or weren't important enough to be adding anyway. Because, like, let's be honest here. Who wants to be doing all that? I know I don't. That's why I didn't. But yeah, if you want to come up with something again, you can. It just, I wasn't looking to do another 3 steps for all this. Because I think the plain wool looks fine. We could do some with buttons or pink wool or something. I don't know. But just a concrete powder would be interesting. I know that would work here too, because I think you have 2 layers in between, if I'm correct. You have, it would be very annoying because of that, actually. Because you have the row we're working on, obviously, right now. And then you have a gap layer, and then the blue terracotta ceiling. So, yeah. Almost there. I'll just manually fill this part, I guess. And yeah. I'll say this again in a second because I do realize not everybody wants to hear me ramble as we fill this in. Don't forget about the, like, front right. There's a little portion where the stone goes in. You do want to actually fill that little square in with magenta. I know it's a little bit dumb, but it's got to be filled, so. Also, I guess I'll mention why the locator bar is on. This is not actually a copy. Generally, when I'm doing the tutorials for, like, Poppy Playtime and such, I have it in a copy. But because I'm doing this in partial preparation for Ruin anyway, so I can have some of these sections, not necessarily this one, but, like, you know, Daycare, Monty Golf, and whatever, later, I just figured I'd build this version off of the Ruin lobby and go from there. And worst case, if it all ends up going terribly and that I can't use it, then it is a later problem. But yeah, I just figured I'd mention why it's on. And I know if I turn it off, I'm going to forget to turn it back on next time I have the world open. So don't want to do that. Almost there. Wow, we're actually almost to the 40-minute mark. That's crazy. That kind of just, like, snuck up on me. I genuinely just, like, kind of stopped thinking about it, and I was like, oh, look, we're 40 minutes in. But there's still a couple more steps that I want to do. So, yeah, you should have this. As I mentioned, don't forget about this little corner here, because I know this corner is important. We'll find it later anyway, but, you know. So the next part is going to be, you want to place glass panes on all the outer red concretes on this row. Now, there's a couple things that you want to keep in mind here. I'm going to start from the left because the left is the easy side. You kind of just want to go around here, and again, it's the same thing where you do want to place it on, like, the corner magentas here, just so all the panes actually connect properly. But that's not really the important thing. There's two things that are exceptions here. And one of them is kind of a, do you want this to be an exception or not question, rather than actually it should be an exception entirely. Here, as you reach the little red concrete bump outs, you're going to go forward, yes, and then you're going to go in with one glass pane. So you have two on the front on the edges here, but these center, what is it, 8 blocks or 6? 6 blocks are open. As you keep going, I'm going to leave the light gray concrete and polished tuff alone on both sides, just because, yeah, those will end up needing to be used later anyway. Again, the two light gray, or the two panes either side on the red. This side is where the question comes in, though. Somewhere at the front, we have an escalator. I don't know where it is particularly here. I can tell you where it is. It's important to mention this now because this actually changes a huge part of where it is. So the escalator it's basically on this final block here. So this would be glassed off. Now the question is, do you want to, off of this, which would be a black stained glass pane, keep the glass going along the stone here in the smooth quartz? I didn't. I leave this red open because I don't really think that there's a point for having the glass. Yes, it is there in the game, but I think adding it looks kind of stupid, which is why I didn't. But it's entirely up to you if you want to do that or not, just kind of, it is something to consider. The only other thing really that I want to do in this part, we can clear inventory. I wanted to do the doors, but it kind of got away from me. You want to get out pearlescent frog lights, sea lanterns, mangrove slabs, and polished blackstone slabs. So first off, underneath the center segment at the middle here where the elevators are, where you got the quartz floor and everything, underneath these red concretes, I'll place upside down polished blackstone slabs. This is where it's kind of important to go back to the corners and not along the back, because you want that back side to be open. Including, well, I'll actually say not including where the escalators are. We're going to leave that open. But underneath every other red concrete row that is one here for where the glass panes are, you're going to place one row of pearlescent frog lights and then one row of sea lanterns going all the way around. You will want to... There is another step after this. I guess I'll mention that first. So, yeah, don't just leave, but you may want to consider for the frog lights specifically trying to keep the direction consistent. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but it is something that, for me, I always try to consider. Because I do realize that sometimes it's a bit odd, the directional thing with these. I don't get why they're directional. Like, a lot of blocks in this game make sense being directional, but I feel like frog lights aren't one of them. Directional lights are weird. It's like deep sight being directional, just like why? What is the point of it? Why did they decide to make it directional? Because I mean there's other blocks with different textures that aren't directional. Immediately I'd think grass because, well, you know, it's not directional, obviously. But I don't quite understand their choices with that. Because I just feel like it should be, it's the way it faces is the way it faces, because that's weird. That's grammar, yep. But it's like, I don't know. Because I only care about the directions to make sure that they're all the same in a build. I don't really care about them overall. Like, I think the single side looks, or I guess this side here, the actual, like, pillar axis part of it looks better, sure, but even then, like, anyway. Just my random thought. So, I guess I'll talk about lighting in the Atrium in general as we are finishing up this step. The lighting is horrendous. Light blocks are being placed in my Atrium, so it actually, you know, looks sort of bright. But I think it looks cool, kind of dim, because you still get the vibe from the lights, but you don't actually get, like, a insanely brightly lit place like it is in the game. But honestly, you could just bring some of the, like, lights on the top down with 15 light blocks and just kind of see what it does. That's what I'll probably end up, or what I would have ended up doing. Underneath each sea lantern and the bottom red concrete here on these little jutouts, you're going to place upside down mangrove slabs. Now, for the jutouts, you don't want to cross on the front here. You only want to go forward on these sides. You don't... Sorry, I realized I was a little bit misleading the way I said that originally. But you don't want to go across the front. You only want to bring it forward on the sides. And yeah. You'll just go all the way around with this. And then, do I want to do one more thing? Do I want to get those doors done? Yeah, I don't really know. Could bring the stone up technically, but... Not a ton of progress for 2 parts, honestly. Like, at least doesn't look like a lot, but... For the grand scheme of things, I mean, that's... It's nice to get a lot of that scaling done, because that is one of the parts of this that is detrimental to get right. The, you know, the shaping of everything, so... It is unfortunate that, of course, some of those numbers end up not being noticed if you get them wrong until later, but hopefully I've been giving you enough information on certain things for you to be like, hey, wait a minute, that's wrong. If you've made a mistake, but hopefully it's been good so far. Yeah. The only other thing I'm going to say, actually, before we end, is if you head over to the right side here, where Blast is, if you are familiar with it. I want to just kind of focus on this for a second, and I think there's a line on the other side as well that we might do, but I'll have to check. I just want to get out glass panes and stone. That's not glass panes. There we go. And on top of the andesite, red terracotta, and orange concrete here, I'm just going to place glass panes going around. No big deal. Just to the left of the orange concrete and red terracotta here, I'm going to break this magenta wool, and I'm just going to keep breaking towards the back a straight line, and I'll replace this full thing with stone. Love the crackling nether ambiance there. It's great. And it should kind of give you this look. And I don't believe there's any others, but I'll confirm that there's nothing weird going on the left here. Is there something? There might be something. Hold on. Nope. That is all. So yeah, we are going to end the part there. So once you're done, ladies and gentlemen, that is part 2 of the FNAF Security Breach Atrium done. That's pretty much the sizing of this thing. As I mentioned, the back wall is there, and we have kind of the side walls where they are marked. But yeah, that is quite large to say the least. It's funny that that's already like a way larger than the lobby. It's not that much wider than the lobby. But I mean, I guess because it's a square and the lobby is more of a T shape, it definitely makes a difference. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, hopefully we will crawl our way along here quickly rather than slowly, because, you know, that is a lot of stuff. And with that being said, have a fantastic rest of your day. or night, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.